Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Dream Do Done, your accountability podcast with your three favorite co-hosts at one-ish every Monday. Serena Brown, Travis, the Pulpit Chick, Tamara Hartley, the How-To Coach, and myself, Dr. Stacey N.C. Grant, the Chief Faithpreneur. So you already know what it is, people. It's Countdown to Faithpreneur Weekend. Okay. So let's just say that my sisters are keeping me covered in prayer. The Pulpit Chick did an extra couple of laps of prayer for me. And the how-to coach is looking at how some things gonna get done prior to that, and just being in connection as you prepare. So today we're going to check in with you. Of course, there's a lot going on in the world, and we hope that everyone is continuing to stay safe and use wisdom as people are moving about in the summer months. School is opening up again in some areas. It is August. Happy birthday to everyone who celebrates in August. This is a special month for me because my whole conference is dedicated to my grandmother, whose birthday was August 17th. My youngest, Old Man Jenkins, his birthday, he's turning 18, y'all. Oh my gosh, I can't. My baby, like where the
So wait, that was just funny. You said my youngest, Old Man Jenkins.
Because he's an old soul. But I can't believe he's going to be 18. And my sisters are going to be participating on the Dream Do Done segment of Faithpreneur Weekend. You know, that's a staple and a crowd favorite. So make sure you've registered. And then good news, because we partner with the Queensborough president, Donovan Richards Jr., we have been able to open up complimentary virtual seats to the event. All of the in-person all access is sold out. So if you didn't get your ticket, shame on you, but you can still participate virtually thanks to the generosity of our sponsors like Weibo, Stephen, who's always listening in. We have Delta Airlines. We have Marshalling Resources, which is St. Marshall. We have the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. We also have Miss Jessie's. We have, I mean, the list is just growing and growing and growing. So I'm grateful because I've been out here, I ain't too proud to beg, asking people for money because folks are still recuperating from COVID. This is a real thing with the economic drivers of our communities, which are small businesses. And August is Black Business Month. So in the chat, just drop your Black business, put your website, let us know what you're doing so that we can support getting everyone back on their feet. People spending money again, traveling. You know, this whole nightmare that we've lived is something that nobody thought that we would see, but we are here and we're still here. So let's honor those who didn't make it, right? There's so many of us who are still grieving losses in this time. So I take life very seriously, that you have to experience each moment, unwrap it like a present. And I'm determined to support our faithpreneurs, our faith-based entrepreneurs and faith-based professionals. That's the market that we serve. And I'm so honored that our sponsors are coming on board. This is year 4. Not everybody wanted to touch my conference with a 10-foot pole, y'all, in the beginning. They were like, oh, you talking about God and religion? Deuces.
That's that Jesus lady.
That's that Jesus lady. But here I is once again, because it's not my work, but how God uses me to be a blessing so that we can bless others, build their capacity so that we can all have strong economic communities that are recycling our dollars and leaving an inheritance for their children's children. So I said a whole lot in the opening. How y'all's doing? Let me go over to the Pulpit Chick. Pulpit Chick, say a blessing.
Hey, you know what, Stacey? That's why I love you. Hello, everyone. And I am so excited. I mean, Stacey she really highlighted her conference, but it is not the same unless you are there. So unfortunately, as she mentioned, the in-person seats have been sold out. That should tell you something. However, you will still be filled. You will learn so much because, as you know, we did the virtual conference last year and it was still, I mean, we still had pages and pages of notes. I was in tears crying. Tamara Hartley, of course, had business plans for everyone. So it is full of information, full of inspiration, and you will be better for attending. So Stacey, let's make sure we put up the conference information, but
yes.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. So we're 2 weeks out and I'm just excited to even talk about it and to be included on the platform.
Woo, I'm excited to have you. Y'all know I couldn't do this without the love, prayers, and support of all my sisters. I'm like, woo, this is a journey, honey. Faith is an action word, somebody. All right.
Absolutely.
How to coach, what say you?
Oh my goodness. So I'm sitting here thinking you're going to be so upset, Stacey. Not that I'm putting more on your plate, but I was just sitting there listening to you talk, and I'm like, you know what? You probably need to put together a resource about this event that you put together, this major event. You're on year number 4. And we talked on this show plenty of times how people give up, say they did it the first year, didn't turn out how they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of logistics, I think, that you have a hand on now because you've done it in person. You've done it virtually in the middle of a pandemic, and now you're doing a hybrid. So I just think from that standpoint that you have some expertise that you can wrap into a product, that you can wrap into a workshop, a course, a master, even if it's just a master class, just about these different options that are available. But the fact that you did it last year in the middle of a pandemic and you still were talking about your sponsors, and the fact that I got my box last year in the mail and I was super excited about it. You know, I've been using Miss Jessie's since I got my samples in Faithpreneur box.
Well, she'll be happy to hear that.
But I really think that there is, you know, we're always here on Dream Do Done talking about ways that we can help others and show some things. And I know people hear you talking about it, but I think that once you get some rest this year, that might be something that we literally work on, because you've done it 3 different ways. And not many people can really say that. You know, a lot of people do live events and they're great at it. You know, that's how we met during live events for Les Brown. We get it. But then also what happens, or how does it shift? How do you still make it happen? The budget, you know, you have a real budget. Talk about that in your sponsor. Some people don't even know how to even go about trying to get a Delta or to get somebody that, you know, is a conglomerate on their sponsorship list. So just things like that, I think, is a real possibility for you to turn into something that could be helpful to other entrepreneurs. So
okay, thank you.
Before anyone says anything,
let me write this down.
Right. As profound as that advice was, I think you now see I am not joking when I say, Tamara Hartley, you can get one idea and all of a sudden much further than where it should go. And that is the type of friendship and accountability and coaching that I'm grateful for. And I know that Stacey is too. The kind of stuff you need in your corner, that you just say one little thing and you have a friend that takes it. When I know Stacey's like, what?
Hold on. I'm like, could I survive?
You know what happens? But you know what happens? We are also multi-talented, that a lot of times we don't see, we leave things on the table because we don't look at it like that. She's doing something that comes natural to her. We all know that. You know, she's out here in these streets hustling. That's what Stacey does. So to her, it's natural. So she doesn't see the product in it. So that's where a friend like me comes in and say, hey, here's the resource. Let's pull it together. And she's like, oh, well, dang, I can do that in my sleep. Okay, now it's an easy resource. So that's all. I'm just doing what I do.
I love it. Listen, you can't explain yourself to me. I know how you work.
Exactly. Firsthand. And I love that we're showing this live and in living color on our show, right? That's what this whole broadcast is about. How do we dream, do, and then get it done? Because you can't see the picture when you're in your frame, like somebody's daddy is always telling us, right? So Tamara just saw, there's another opportunity here. I know you're doing a million other things, but there is something else that could come out of this that's not going to be a heavy lift. And there are low-hanging fruit available for all of our small businesses and entrepreneurs that are here. If you could just sit still, for me, for Tamara, for Serena, everything starts with our faith. We're not out here necessarily trying to convert you every second. We'll let the words we say convict you to do that. But no matter what you believe, there has to be a level of ingenuity, a level of innovation that's going to carry you forward, whether you're working a corporate job and you want to advance the ladder, or whether you're building a small business, or you are just adding streams of income. Those who are willing to see through a different lens, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Who said that? Wayne Dyer. So when you can look through that lens and change and shift your paradigm, it allows you to be open when you can't see things, and the people who love you and who are around you, like Tamara, like Serena, can say, girl, don't forget that. Don't leave that money on the table, boo, right? Because we all want a certain quality of life when we retire, whatever that looks like, because I can't see myself retiring. Like, I would go stir crazy sitting still. There's too much in my brain. There's too much God gave me to do. Like, I just can't sit down. I just want to make sure I have enough money to help more people and to help myself. Because what your daddy loved to quote, Reverend Ike said, the best way to help broke people is not to be one of them.
Not be one of them. I I say that quite often. I said it may sound harsh to some that don't understand, but the best way is to not be one of them. Is to have resources so you can help others. Okay, I receive that all day long. Look, but I also think that's an example too, that some people are out here just looking everywhere, trying every little thing to, these quick get rich quick or, passive income, all of this stuff people are trying, and no fault of their own, because they're trying to like make some things happen. But look in your own backyard. What do you know? What are you an expert at? What do you do in your sleep? What do you do? The people ask you all the time. You're like, oh girl, it's nothing. This is what you do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the things that become resources that you can use to jumpstart your business or to pour revenue into your business so you can do that passion work. We always on here talking about our ministries. Okay, you need some revenue so you can keep doing that ministry.
Okay, what you feeding people with? You need a couple loaves of bread and some fish. God will multiply, but you gotta bake it. Oh, Serena, you could preach on that one.
I could. That for sure I'm guilty of. I'm always waiting for the past to be. And so the one thing that I learned at Faithpreneur Weekend, of course, I just learned in my everyday walk, is that the path, it's going to look muddy. It's going to look awful. It's going to look like you should go a different way. But that's exactly what your faith tells you to do. Take one step and the Lord will take two. So I get it. I mean, I'm your amen corner for this one. I'm like pinching myself not to say anything else, but I'll just keep it going. But with the pandemic and with the mindset that we've been in, I think there's a shock factor that we've all heard. I mean, that we've all felt. We got through 2020, as Stacey said, and I love it. 2021 clearly just came in with a wig on, so I'm giving you credit for that. That's the first time you get credit. The next two, you get credit for a little bit, then after a while it'll be mine. The fact of the matter is, we've got to be intentional about retraining our brains to also see the possibilities. I mean, I don't think any of us soared into 2020 and also 2021 like really putting our boots on the ground. I mean, we made steps, and then there were times you're like, oh, I don't know how this is going to do. I know in my case I had COVID, so we were down. But even in spite of all those things, there was still light. There was still lights and hope that came through. And so that's why I'm so excited about the Faithpreneur Weekend, because it's also going to help rewire our brains to make sure that we are seeing the possibilities, make sure we're still walking in our faith on top of all of the other brilliant minds that Stacey, you always bring together. So again, and like you said, Tamara, who gets sponsorship during a pandemic? I mean, that's
right.
That's what companies are like. No, everyone's stocks are down. People are doing layoffs.
Yes.
And our sister friend still has people writing checks. So that lets you know just to be in her midst, to be close enough to touch the hem of her garment. I feel like I'll be a different person.
Look, and I say this every time we come together and talk about Faithpreneur Weekend, is that Stacey is one of those people who, she talks about leverage all the time. If you go back in 3 years and listen to this show, she talks about leveraging a lot, because that is what she does from her relationships. I'm telling you, when you go to Faithpreneur Weekend, you get exposed to people. You're like, oh yeah, I read about her. Oh, I saw her before. She is a master at leveraging relationships, but bringing people together. And I think that's really one of the things I always enjoy about the whole entire weekend, is that you get exposed to people that you might not be able to get on the telephone, but Stacey can. So,
and here's what's funny. I think you talked about the Miss Jessie's products, the hair products. So when I came home, my children were so excited. I had this beautiful bag. As we know, Stacey is like, everything is fabulous. And my kids were playing with the product. Like, they were putting it on their baby doll's hair. And I was like, are y'all crazy? So I started going bananas, right? Lo and behold, we went to the store. We started to see Miss Jessie's all over the place. Now all of a sudden, they're like protecting that product, putting it on their edges.
I'm telling you, when my hair was natural, that's what I really started using it. I mean, because it really helped, and I didn't know about it until I had those small little samples in my bag. So sometimes people don't think that's important, or they think people throw that stuff out. Not I use my stuff. I was over there. You know how people, you see cheap people rolling up the toothpaste thing. That's how I was trying to get my product out. Like, hold up.
Like this to it. Like,
oh my goodness. I have got to share this with Miko. She will get a kick out of hearing both of y'all. But that was
and wait a minute, what about Miss Vera Wade? I mean,
there are more.
There are more. Yeah, listen. Now, was she not a diva? Like she even taught me how to
she
smile.
told us how to take that photo, didn't she?
She did. She did not play around. Like when we were taking our pictures, it was like a perfect smile. As a matter of fact, I was looking at her like, okay.
And she was like, don't do this, stand like this.
Yes. So besides enhancing your mind, besides renewing your faith, you will get beauty tips that you've never had before. Your edges, if your edges come in raggedy, they will come out laid after the 3-day weekend.
Oh, my stomach hurts. Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Goodness. Yo, Miko will appreciate this. And I just love Miko. She's not only a past honoree, she's been a sponsor since day one. She believed in the vision. She sent product. She sent sponsorship dollars. And I'm like, Miko, she was like, girl, I believe in you. I believe in what you're doing. I love how you're helping so many people. And, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to have such incredible people in my lives. And folks look at the roster of the folks that I've honored or who are on the platform. And I'm like, these are my friends. These are people that I pray with, that I work with. I'm not bringing them on because of their name and notoriety. These are people who I know how they operate. You can't just show up on my platform. You have to be vetted. Like there has to be a relationship there because I take seriously the lives that I impact. And I can't bring any and anybody in front of our Faithpreneur audience, right? Destiny Designers University is the only training and development platform for faithpreneurs, faith-based entrepreneurs and faith-based professionals. We don't run around telling you to quit your job just because you want to have a business. Some people love what they do and they just want multiple streams of income. So having this very heavy mantle, I can't just bring anybody in front of an audience who's trusting me. So what you said is so true, Tamara, that my relationships are precious to me. And my relationship capital is billionaire status, right? Because it's the quality of person, not just what's in their bank account or what they've achieved, but the quality of individual who's unapologetic about their faith, who is willing to say, I know without God, I would not be. That's not for everybody. That's not for every audience, but I'm here to serve those who understand that. And then to have my sisters like you here every step of the way, like, girl, pray hard, like, ooh, because it's down to the point where my husband and I start laughing when things start happening. Countdown to Faithpreneur Weekend. It was like, oh yeah, it's time for Faithpreneur Weekend. Yeah, that's why that's happening. Oh yeah. Well, that's about right on track. Yeah.
I think the other thing that's important to remember too for the audience who I know is about to go purchase your ticket, don't get food and think it's just a testimony service either for all faithpreneurs. I mean, there is solid information that was shared. And I don't care how many books we've read. I don't care how many times I've been on the road with my father, or Tamara has done her thing with the how-to coaching. Tamara and I had pages and pages of notes. Matter of fact, we stopped talking to each other midway through to go, okay, listen, hold up. Now, you remember we had an argument in person in our first one.
Let's not bring up the argument.
It was a meeting of the minds in a different way.
Thank you. That's how
we'll say. That's a cute way of saying it. We needed every bit of faith as we. but I mean, my point is, it was so full and rich of content, and I mean real life content from, as Stacy mentioned, some of her friends with the best business minds, businesses that are still thriving even now. And I'm not talking like thriving a little bit, like thriving a lot of it. And so you have people to share their strategies with how they made it through a tough time and add faith to it. It makes it all the better. So again, that's all. That's my 2 cents. I am so excited to participate within the next 2 weeks, and can only hope I add a fraction of value to your platform.
It would be more than value, and it's next week. Not even next 2 weeks. It's next week. Get your virtual.
Okay.
Get your virtual pass. Use QBP. We have a couple of sponsors with their personalized codes. The Miss Jessie code is, believe, live as well. So there's so many ways for you to get access now that we've partnered with so many people who believe in the work of faithpreneurs as an economic driver in our community. So there's no excuse. There's really no excuse. And they've come on board because I have real bills to pay. It's not free to produce. So there are bills to be paid. So without my sponsors, there would be no way for us to produce this for those who need it. So that's really, and I have agnostics that follow me. I have atheists that follow me. I have multiple religions, because it's about the universal truth of how you build and grow something sustainable with a fidelity to a faith in a God that is bigger than you, right? Period. That's, if you believe that, and even some who don't believe in God, but they were like, well, there's something about you. Hallelujah. Then that still could be a way to witness, right? So I don't discriminate. And we are able to have so many people come to the table, share their thoughts, their ideas, what worked. We are a safe place to talk about your transparent mistakes. I call them expensive learning curves. Everybody makes them. That's the good news. You're in the right place. Like, nobody comes out waking up like Beyonce says in the song. You got to go through some things. You just don't wake up like this. You go through and you exercise your faith with action. And that's what even our podcast, Dream Do Done, is about. We talked about it. We started executing. We're in season 3. We wouldn't be in season 3 if we didn't start moving. We just don't talk about it. We live this every day. So we hope this inspires you today. If you're catching the replay, #replay Dream Do Done. I'm actually on a golf course, y'all. You hear the noise coming in. The people are coming back. I thought I found a place to take over. I said, it's time for my show. They were like, oh, you having a show? Oh my gosh, what's the name?
Look, Stacy's done recorded her show there. She's probably gonna walk out with a sponsor.
Hello, because I got all my flyers in my bag. Yes, ma'am. I sure am. I ain't too proud to beg, because this is going to help so many other people and just open up the doors for what we need to do. So thank you for allowing us to share a little bit about that. And as we start August, I want both of my co-hosts to share their thoughts on new beginnings. This has become my new year for our Faithpreneur community, because 8 is the number of new beginnings. And every time we come into a Faithpreneur weekend, it's a new beginning for what's next, and the interaction throughout our ecosystem for the next 12 months as we gear back up for next year. Can you believe will be our 5th anniversary? So we got to do it all the way up, all to Chizane, honey. And I've been working out too. Y'all see my collarbone? By then I'll be totally ready for the 5th year. But I wouldn't have a 5th year, wouldn't have a 4th year if it didn't start in year 1. So in this month of new beginnings, be intentional about how you're going to close out 2021. It was just the other day we were talking about new year, new goals, new vision. And now we're closing out the 3rd quarter, getting ready to dive into the 4th quarter of the year. And the success doesn't start in the 4th quarter. It starts with what you started doing in our Dream Do Done. And for those who have their have their all access pass, you're getting a copy of our journal inside your box. So I'm just excited about that as well. So all I can say is make this new month count. Don't put old wine in new wine bottles. Do something new and different so that you can experience what's in store for you. Over to you, Tamra, and then Serena. Serena closes us out with a word today. Tamra usually closes us out, but I think Serena can close us out with a little pulpit chick magic.
Absolutely. So no, I really like that thought of new. A lot of times we look at January, the first of the year, of doing things like, no, it's now, it's August. It's time to renew as well. So I like that whole idea, but I actually have some exciting stuff that I'm working on. And I'm like, you know what, that falls right in line with what I'm trying to do as far as renewing and revamping some parts of my business. So I'm looking forward to this new beginning in August here. So I will have some exciting things to share in the next couple of weeks as well. So I'm excited about that. And it's never too late to start anew. So I really like the whole concept of let's begin anew. I'm ready. She ready.
She ready.
All right. Well, I will quickly close out and simply say that we know, and I'm shifting, but we know that the COVID season is still upon us. And as we know, we've been looking at how did this happen? Why are we still here? Some of us have been vaccinated. Many of us have not. Some of us are wearing masks. And now the vaccinated people are being told to continue to wear masks, which of course is extremely, aggravating. And I took a look at, when we're talking about starting new, I took a look at my life and some of the things that have not started going as smoothly as I would have wanted them to. And I realized I didn't get all the infection out. I didn't do all the work that was required for that particular project to make sure it was going to move forward as smoothly as possible. And so what I would leave with you today is let's not have a resurgence of COVID in our own business and in our own lives. When we look at new, let's do new correctly. Let's make sure if there's a process that needs to happen, we take step A, B, and C. We don't skip over a step, because I guarantee you, just as we have to do now, we're going back to correct the things that were not done correctly, and that foundation was not laid correctly in the first place. So make sure when you're starting new, make sure you're doing that thing. You're doing it correctly, handling all the steps. There are no shortcuts. Don't take the shortcut, because you'll have to go back. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely. What my daddy said.
That's a word.
That's a word right there. And my father, he's always like, you get by, but you don't get away. And that is truth.com. Mm-hmm. So go on and use the code QBP, register for Faithpreneur Weekend for your virtual sponsored seat. It's going to be off the chain. I promise you that. You want to say that you were there. Like when the roll is called, you want to say you were there. But I appreciate you all. I love my sisters, and I can't wait for us to journey together. This time next week, I'll be on a serious prayer walk into Faithpreneur Weekend. So y'all keep the cover. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.